Hey guys, this is Cooper. We're back for Season 6 of the Global Battle Association. We were not in last season. Why was that? A lot of people were commenting like, Cooper, what the carp happened? You know, you totally had the playoffs in the bag. Why are you not in the playoffs in the Season 4? So, some funny stuff happened in real life, and then that proceeded to spill over into funny stuff happening in GBA life, which was, the result of which was the Week 10 match against Miguel, which hopefully people got laughs out of. Pretty much what was going to happen was I was not going to have internet for the playoffs, which would have meant that I would have had to forfeit in like the first or second round or something of the playoffs. Pretty much I was not going to have internet to be able to play whatsoever. No shot at the championship, and so instead I figured, well, how about we don't have a forfeit in a playoff game, because that's really sucks. So I gave John some cake or something like that, and some stuff happened. Dan actually got to play a game in the championship game, so that was cool. And yeah, so then Season 5 happened. Season 5 happened, and I was like, well, I'm like not super comfy with my internet situation. Like, I don't know that I can commit to being in the league and like knowing that I'm gonna have internet the whole time. Like, you know, basically I didn't want something like that to happen again. So that's why we're in Season 5, for the most part, mechanically. And then that all changed when something horrible happened for Cooper, which was that the beloved Thone that I have had since 2005 is the only Thone I'd ever known. It finally passed away, and I had to acquire one of these newfangled intelligent Thones, I think is what they're called. These things have some kind of cantrip called Conjure Hotspot, so that's able to do internets even if I don't have internets. So yeah. That enables me to actually play games even if like home internet goes out, so that's really good. And consequently that led to us returning in Season 6, so that situation's taken care of, and we are now back ready to go. During Season 5 I was pretty much just helping out Blah, which I was glad he was able to return and make a playoff run, kind of behind the scenes, so you know I'm not like out of the loop at all. You know, I was still keeping up with stuff and happenings during Season 5, tier changes, the renaming of the tiers to a more proper system in my opinion, because they're not use-based whatsoever. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. You know, we're not, you know, I'm pretty sure I haven't played a game of Pokemon since the Lulz game against Miguel, but that's kind of business as usual for me anyway, so. Anyway, with that being said, I'm not going to explain the draft rules and all that stuff, because, as I have in the past, because we have a group of fine analysts over on the GBA official channel who did a very nice job of it, so I would encourage you, if you don't know what the draft rules are and whatnot, to go over to that channel, check out some of the videos for that, because they did a good job explaining it, so I'm not going to reiterate what they already did. So let's just jump into, I think this video is just going to be what I drafted, which a couple days ago, that's Saturday in fact, we had a draft stream where we revealed all the picks live, but we're going to go slightly more in depth. I'm going to try to keep this under an hour, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, we're just going to go through the team and then show what the schedule is, and I think we're going to leave it at that, so there you go, voice crack on cue, let's get into talking about the team. Alright, so before the draft actually begins, we have the franchise round, which I'm not going to get too in detail on because, again, analysts did a good job of explaining stuff. But I will a little bit, as it's kind of relevant to why I decided to franchise anything. So, as you know, we have 400 free points that we can spend on, you know, any combination of 4 pokes that we want. And I was running through the combinations of the tiers that I wanted to grab, and every time I ended up with 40 points left over. So I was like, okay, this means I probably have a pretty good chance to franchise something that will be okay. We were debating whether or not we wanted franchises to all be 40 points, or just have them be the 40 for the higher, 20 for the lower that we ended up going with. So I figured, alright, so I can probably franchise a tier 3 or below, it'll only be 20 points, and that'll still let me, if I need to get sniped on something in the middle of the draft, you know, I can, one of my tier 3s that I was going to grab with a free pick, I can instead grab a tier 2 right there, and everything will still be hunky-dory. So, the question is, what tier 3 do I want to franchise? The tier 3s that we're looking at were Sableye, Greninja, and Fortress for a spinner. And of those 3, Sableye is my favorite Pokemon of all time that I have never gotten to use as much as I would like to. On top of that, he has Prankster, so, which is relevant because, you know, all the returning teams, they had to pick a poke from their team, so they couldn't get sniped on their franchise pick at all. But I was actually the first franchise pick of the teams who were joining or rejoining this season. And Sable, so because I was the first pick after Dan, we just went in first round order for the franchise picks for the expansion teams. So that meant I kinda, sorta, not really, got to make the first overall pick of the draft. So, I always have nicknamed Sableye Shadow Man ever since Gen 3 when I saw him in the cave, and I was like, oh, this guy's awesome, he has no weaknesses, clearly, ninjas have no weaknesses, so, lurks in the shadows, so, he's just always been Shadow Man. I don't think Mega Man 9 for Jewel Man was out at the time. No, it definitely was not. That's because that was freaking Sapphire in 2003. So, Sableye has always been Shadow Man, and that sort of influenced my first round pick a little bit, which was going ahead and picking up the Tier 3 Greninja. Lacks Protean, of course, because, yeah, it makes him a little bit too good, and he definitely wouldn't be that Tier 3 value if he did have Protean. Because now I've got Shadow Man. Well, let me go ahead and grab SHADOWMAN.EXE as well, so we just get double ninja action going on. Kind of breaking nickname class, but whatever. So as for why I want a Greninja, in general, he does about 80%, I'd say, of the stuff that I would have wanted Infernape to do, which I wanted Infernape in Season 4, and Hank sniped me in the first round. And he does so at a considerably lower cost. He does 80% of the work at like 55% of the cost, something like that, down from 180 to 100, so that being he's got good speed, much faster than Infernape. He can set up 2 forms of hazards, in the form of spikes and toxic spikes, and while he doesn't have, he doesn't have the powerful, I guess Hydro Pump's pretty powerful, but he doesn't have the strong, base 120 power stab moves that Infernape has, but it's still enough. He's still got a good move pool. He can still clean stuff up after, the bulk that I plan to pick up later wears it down, so. Is it worth a round 1 pick? No, probably not, but you guys, if you know me, nothing I would pick in the first round is really gonna be a first round pick. Like, an ideal round 1 pick for me is maybe like Starmie. Like, I would never grab something like Lando T or even Lando I, because I'm not gonna be able to use it, so. You're probably never going to see a flashy first round pick out of me, ever, so. I knew I wanted Greninja. I kind of had my heart set on getting it, and, got a couple new coaches picking after me. I don't know how high they're going to value it. I think there was at least one other guy who was interested in picking it up. Maybe not in the first 2 rounds, but whatever. Wanted to go ahead and lock it up, and also I just thought it was funny that I got SHADOWMAN and SHADOWMAN.EXE back to back. However, immediately after, or, well, maybe about an hour after Fridge Logic going in, I realized that there was a poke on the board that I had always dreamed of getting and never thought I would get because it's always gone, or in the past was on a roster already before it got to me, and that was Clefable, and I was like, oh no, there's no way it's lasting these next 8 picks, and then Tom at the end on his wheel grabbed Sylveon. I'm like, uh-oh, that's gonna trigger everyone to start going. Fairy's gonna start popping off the board. I think MV picked up Togekiss in the first round, so that kind of started it. And then I was like, yeah, someone's gonna grab Togekiss. And then no one grabbed Togekiss, and I got it in the second round. So I was extremely ecstatic about this. I never thought I would get this thing. I felt like, you know what? I feel that's basically a round 1 pick I got in the second round, so I felt like that kind of sort of made up for it, even though Greninja probably I could have stayed off until a little bit later. But whatever. That is where I decided to go. So as for what Clefable does, Magic Card, unaware. It's crazy good, and they lit one of the most notorious stall, I put in quotation marks because I don't actually play true stall, it's just way more defensive than what everyone else thinks you should be playing. They let one of the more notorious defensive players grab a poke that you can't kill with toxic or passive damage, so awesome. We are going to have some fun times with Clefable, and honestly, as soon as I got Clefable, I was like, alright, I don't even care what the rest of my walls are, because I have Clefable. So I've got Sableye technically resist poison, Greninja technically resist steel, not that those are, great take lots of hits walls, but, suffice to say, I'm already pretty okay with the draft so far, and I'm very pleased with picking up Clefable. So, the next target was going to be Zapdos in the third round, And I felt like it was a pretty good chance we were going to be able to pick that up, because the highest Zapdos ever went was Season 2, where I took it in the first round because, you know, there was weird stuff that went on with Pokemon Bank in Season 1, and then, you know, expansion coaches, you know, picking up whatever was left, and the most notably, you know, a bunch of Legends now became available for use through Pokemon Bank, although Zapdos was technically in before Pokemon Bank, but, you know, whatever, still no one took it. So that was the highest it ever went, and then I believe I grabbed it in the 4th round in Season 4, and then Miguel took it in the 5th round in Season 5. So, I feel like it should be in the 6th round in Season 6 right now. But suffice to say, you know, I didn't really feel like Zapdos was, as much as I love it, I didn't really feel like it was a first 2-round, you know, Tier 1. It's great, but it's, you know, for a Tier 1, there's definitely, like, some way spookier stuff than just Zapdos. But I felt like it was pretty safe in round 3, and then Geo grabbed it in round 3 to throw just more unnecessary bulk onto his team, so we were very displeased when this happened. And then apparently though, that wouldn't have mattered because Super Blah also wanted it in round 3, got sniped the very pick before, and he ended up grabbing my thing that I wanted after Zapdos, which was Skarmory. So this proceeded to throw pretty much all of my plans out of commission, which started off round 1, I wanted to grab Hippo. I didn't really think it was gonna make it to the 12th pick, but if it did, it definitely would have been mine. So, you know, that kind of messed that up. You know, ideally I wanted Hippo and Zapdos for my 2 Tier 1s, and instead I got Clefable, and now looking at the rest of Tier 1 with Zapdos and Skarm off the board, there's not really anything else from Tier 1 that I'm super interested in picking up. So, also at this point, Megas were starting to fly off the board, and pretty much every Mega that I was really interested in using had started to be gone, except for the one I had my heart set on from the outset. And my Mega got sniped at this point. I was down to like Mega Garchomp or Mega Glalie, I think were my next 2 Megas in line for what I would have grabbed. So I decided, you know what, there's nothing else, there's no other like super high tier stuff that I really want on the board. Let me just go ahead and grab my Mega now, because if I don't grab it now, it's too big of a risk if it does get sniped. So, welcome to the party, Mega Protoman, who I should have picked in Season 4, because Charizard.EXE is just awful. It's dog poop. It's really freaking bad. Like, don't pick it. It's never made. No team with Zard.EXE has ever made the playoffs in the GBA, so it's bad. But anyway, Mega Protoman though is actually really nice. He is Protoman, and that's honestly all the reason I need to pick him, to be quite honest with you. However, he has like, I don't know, because he's different from regular Protoman, we're gonna use Protoman.EXE, because I mean, that's the version that actually has the swords anyway, so there you go. We got some nice full arts going on for this picture. And yeah, so I was pretty sure, because it hadn't been picked since Season 3 when Steve took it, I was pretty sure it was going to be around later, but again, you know, I couldn't risk it being gone, and then I had like an undesirable Mega that I would have had to pick up. Mega Gardevoir was technically still on the board, but if I ever get Mega Gardevoir, I'm going to run it like regular Gardevoir, like defensive every week, and not actually use it offensively, because you know how I operate. So anyway, we got speed, we got power, you know, we got a bunch of all the status options. We had a Gnosis, Will-O-Wisp, Confuse Ray, I think, even all the non-volatile status Galad has access to, as well as just beat you in the face, 165 base attack and decent speed. Now there's the problem with the ability, but you know, we're gonna see what we can do about that. That's going to be that for the Mega pick. So, going into round 4, at this point, I've got Clefable, and I've got Mega Glade to pop some holes and stuff, so I'm honestly, like, already, like, very satisfied with what I've got. So, round 4, I just decided I was going to take whatever was the best thing available, and I kind of wanted a spinner, but, as we mentioned earlier, the spinner I wanted was Fori, and I didn't really think Fori was worthy of a top 4 rounds pick. So I thought, Fori will probably get back to me, and I decided, let's just go ahead and grab a tactical nuke in the form of Staraptor, because I hate planning for this thing. It just 2-hit KOs so much junk. Having access to close combat to allow it to break through both rock and steel And just if you can't guard against its reckless boosted attacks, then you're gonna get to a KO. And like, I think my answer for this thing was always Zapdos, which I'm not gonna have this season. And like Double Edge still 2-hit KOs Zapdos, and for some reason I think it was, I know Tom had it, and I think someone else I played against had it. And I don't know, just Double Edge never got clicked against Zapdos. So I was very fortunate for that. But now we have this thing, and we are going to bring Double Edge when necessary. And yeah, it doesn't have a very wide move pool. It's kind of got maybe 6 to 7 viable moves. But when 2 of your viable moves 2-hit KO most of the game, that's pretty good. So, and of course there's the option to run the Intimidate, Defog, Roost, support wall set, which I'm very interested in, as you can imagine, but it's going to be on a week-to-week basis. So, Staraptor is, we're going to have to dip into Mega Man.EXE and grab Storm Eagle, because I don't really think there's a good Robot Master I can use for this one, but whatever, that's... Well, we already did that with Hydreigon in Season 3, where I did, like, the Mega Man X4 intro boss, because there was nothing that was really good for Hydreigon. So, anyway, moving into the next, so now we have the long end of the draft, before it gets back to me. And I decided to key in on, I'm like, so there's a pair of guys I used in my Winter 2011 series, which I think was the first time I actually, like, did multiple battles with a team that was supposed to work together. And I had always loved this pairing of pokes from a defensive synergy perspective. Unfortunately, in that series, they had like really bad moves, like Aerial Ace plus Aqua Tail for their 2 attack moves on one of them. But we're not going to talk about that. And so I decided to go with the combination of Gliscor and Empoleon. And since this is too perfect of a picture, so they're just going to both pop up on the screen right now. And I was able to get them both. I decided to go Gliscor first because looking at the teams after me, they already had Blastoise, Crobat, Togekiss, and Starmie, respectively in order. So each of those, they either already had a Defogger, so some sort of Hazard Remover, and some sort of Water or Water or Steel type going on there. Actually, none of them were Steel types, but all of them were Hazard Removers, and 2 of them were also Water types. So I was hoping, they don't really need Empoleon, so thankfully they did not, so I was able to get back to me. I believe Fizz actually wanted Empoleon this round, so I did snipe him on that. But anyway, so with this we've got 2 more guys who are immune to Toxic and Sand, which is pretty great. Gliscor, of course, having the kind of borked Poison Heal stuff going on. And Gliscor also, it's a wall, but it also has good speed and attack, so it's... it's not like it's not going to be able to hit you back, and it can even, Sword Stance up in your face and potentially sweep you. Also gives us another source of Stealth Rock, because Clefable's got a lot of good stuff it can do, so I don't have to be bringing Stealth Rock and Clefable every week, which I kind of usually did with Bliss. And as far as in Sports with Empoleon now, I've got, it's not the hazard removing steel type I wanted, but it's the hazard remover steel type that I got, so that's honestly pretty fine. It also provides, of course, a third Stealth Rock user, which is, I like to have at least 3. 3 is usually what I aim for, so you don't know necessarily where the Stealth Rock is going to come from. As far as their types working out with each other, I think it's almost perfect, if not completely perfect. Gliscor's weak to Water and Ice, Empoleon resists both those, and Quad resists Ice. And Empoleon is weak to what? Lightning, TCG, Electric, Ground, and Fighting, all of which Gliscor resists or is immune to. Is immune to 2 of them, and then resists Fighting. So it's a very powerful combination, type-wise, being able to switch between them. Especially if we can get hazards up, and I don't know. But there is the issue that I found with that team from days of long ago, where Bolt Beam kind of gives us issues with this team, or with that pairing. So I was thinking, one of the premier Bolt Beam takers is still on the board, and we got the points to afford him, and so that's what we're going to be targeting if it's going to make it back to me and not get sniped like it did in Season 2. and it did not get sniped. So we got Magnezone as well, who was going to be able to take Bolt Beam. It's not going to be able to take the Ice Ground, the combination, unfortunately, but that's just straight up a good combination. It's really hard to resist anyway. So it completes that trio. Magnezone was also on that team in 4th gen, so I was pretty pleased about that. It's another tank immune to Toxic and Sand, so don't even bother bringing those moves. Seriously, guys. Also, with the first couple picks, I think it was the first 2 picks. You know, we had out of the first 4 picks, we had 3 fairy weaknesses, and now we're starting to get the fairy resistances. You knew it was only a matter of time before we picked up some steel types, right? So. We got Empoleon, we got Magnezone. Of course, we're gonna get Aggron later. You know, that one's pretty much already in the bank. It's just a matter of when do I want to make it formally make it happen. So, after Magnezone, we've got my backup spinner, which my backup spinner I knew was something that's it would probably have gotten taken, but not until really late. And I felt like round 8 was about as early as it should go, and was about the point in time in which it might actually start to get on people's radar, because this is a poke that a lot of people, pretty much everyone in the league, claims is hot garbage. It's really bad. I disagree. I think it's only lukewarm garbage, and that is Claydol. I've always loved Claydol, just its design and the fact that it was in Team Magma decks back in the day. It was really good. So we're going to be using Claydol as our backup spinner, well, our only spinner. Now I've got Empoleon for defog, but I still haven't warmed up to defog. I strongly prefer spin. And as far as spinners go, Claydol is the spinner who is least bothered by hazards. He's immune to, all of them except for Stealth Rock, and then he resists Stealth Rock, so obviously does not have any form of reliable recovery, or he would be considerably better. Like, come on, Game Freak, give Claydol Recover in Gen 7, and then he'll almost be good. He doesn't, not the best offenses, but he's got serviceable attack and special attack. It's not like he can't deal damage to anything. He may have to actually throw EVs into it from to deal damage, but he can. And he's got a reasonably alright move pool. And the typing, while of course anything that's weak to knockoff is going to suck. He also has Levitate, which is good because the pick before him is quad weak to ground, and the pick before that is also weak to ground. And we're going to be grabbing Aggron later, so we've already got 2 ground immunes, which are Staraptor and Gliscor, so grabbing a third going to be a good idea to sort of deter Earthquake from running train on the team. So we got Spinner, immune to ground, that's always going to be pretty good. And we'll go and move on to the next pick, and I don't really need to explain this one because it is the Boss God. You guys know what the Boss God does. He kills stuff really good. Moving on. So the next pick was going to be the last pick, actually, because we franchise. So round 10 is going to be the final pick, and this needs to be a tier 5. Yeah, this had to be a tier 5. I think at this point we had done, Claydol was a tier 5, so this was just 43 points left, and kind of had a lot of options. My depth chart for tier 5 was like 5 pokes deep, and actually several of them were still on there, but the one I ended up picking was actually not originally on my depth chart. At first I wanted something like, say, Zangoose, just in, very powerful, smash you in the face, but I already had a normal type, physical beater in the form of Staraptor, and we also have Blade and Aggron to beat up stuff on the physical side. So that was another reason I wanted Magnezone, was because I was a little bit lacking on the special offense. Empoleon's alright, but I wanted something to have also a slow Volt Switcher is going to be really good to get stuff like Mega Glade in, so there was also that in play as well. I was thinking, I don't have a Dragon type, I do have a great Fairy type, I've got a couple of Steel types, might be good to get a Dragon type, but I always kind of felt like the whole Fairy, Dragon, Steel core, the Dragon part was a little bit superfluous. Like, Steel kind of already covers Fairy anyway, and Fairy covers what? Well, I guess only the fighting type, but, I felt like you can make up for that in other ways. The Dragon type wasn't necessarily super useful, it was just, covering the fire? Yeah, pretty much. So there's other, just a bulky water. But anyway, which we kind of have an Empoleon, but not really because it doesn't resist fire. So So I was actually thinking, I believe at this point, yeah, Druddigon had been gone. I might have considered Druddigon, except it was 5th gen, so no, I would not have. I was actually thinking about Dragonair, because Dragonair is a pretty cool guy. I like Dragonair better than Dragonite. You know, I don't claim it's better, I just like it better, because it's blue. It is blue. There you go. Voice crack counter. Let's go. No voice crack counter in this video, though. Only in actual matches, so I was thinking about that, but, you know, I know, like, Rest Talk Outrage is awesome because you don't actually lock yourself into Outrage and you get Marvel Scale for defense boost, which is really great. But I was looking at the structure of the team as far as types go, and, like, I have nothing weak to Psychic, and I believe I have, like, 2 immunes with my first 2 picks and, like, 4 resistances already from Claydol plus the 3 steals. So let's grab a guy who is weak to Psychic and nothing else in the form of Wheezing, who also I believe resists Grass, which was a type I was a little bit concerned about because I didn't have much in the way of resist and I had a couple of weaknesses. I kept thinking, well, the only resist I think was what, Staraptor and I guess Magnezone, so yeah, so we grab someone who is resistant to Grass and is only weak to Psychic, which, yeah, Psychic is kind of a questionable type to bring against this team already. So I figured, you know, Weezing's probably not going to get hit super effectively too often. You know, so that's going to be really good. It's another Levitator as well, so, you know, we've got 2 things that are quad weak to ground on the team, but now we've got a total of 4 ground immunities, so I felt like that kind of balances out pretty well. You know, Poison typing is, of course, great defensively. Got access to Will-O-Wisp and Toxic Spikes. And, you know, it's got, what, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, typically for its special offensive moves. I think the physical offense is higher, but it doesn't have the move pool to support it, unfortunately. So, and of course we can always do, you know, the second coming Gargaflop's favorite, Eat Old Specs Wheezing, which has caught many a bloke by surprise. But I felt like Wheezing, even though I didn't really have a name for it, that Gemini man there is kind of penciled in, just because, you know, it's a pair of coughing twins. So I don't know. That's not like really the name I would want to do for it, but whatever. I don't really have a name for it. Wheezing it is. I think there's actually a chance I'll end up bringing him in maybe more than 1 game, which I can't say for Venomoth, who was the equivalent of a tier 2, or sure, thereabouts. Anyway, so that's it for the team. Overall, it's not my favorite team that I've drafted. That, I think, still goes to Season 4, having Blissey and Zapdos, of course, but, you know, what can I say? Blissey, you know, I knew from the outset I wasn't going to go for Blissey this season. It got moved up to Tier 2, which meant it was an extra 20 points from what it was prior, and I love Bliss, but that kind of broke the bank for me because there's a lot of good walls, like Vaporeon, like Melodic, I think, no, Melodic I think is Tier 2, but like Vaporeon, and several other stuff. Miltank's in Tier 5, and to me that's like, you know, at least half of Blissey for less than half the cost. So, just wasn't really feeling it at 120 points, and then of course Zapdos got sniped. So, with that being said, we had to adjust on the fly and go from there. And overall, I think I like the team that we got. You know, it's a little bit different. It feels like it has more offense. I don't know if it actually does or not. I know the BST is down to about, average is down to about 500. It was 530 in Season 4. But most of that is because we've got Sableye and Fable, who are good because of their abilities, not because of their stats. So that, you know, sort of kind of makes up from there. But, you know, it's got some old favorites. It's got some new stuff that I have always wanted to use that I've never actually been able to use. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to using it. Maybe a little bit more than I had in Season 4, whereas that team was a lot more stuff I was already familiar with. That, like, yeah, let's use this stuff and let's just, you know, do, you know, it's going to be fun using them, but it's not necessarily going to be, you know, as much new stuff using them. At the very least, I don't have that awful dragon dragging the team down, so that was not an intended... that was the dragon dragging the team. Oh my. That was not intended. Whatever. Anyway, let's move into the schedule, and then I think that's going to be it for this video. So we start off week 1 with the Borussia Donphan, Lars El Scissorii, And we actually already got the plans underway for him because, you know, as soon as we got the draft done, you know, instantly I see his draft. Well, as soon as we got the schedule given to us anyway, we went ahead and started planning from there. So we've had a couple of weeks of prep. We'll certainly see how it goes. He did very well last season. This season, I feel like his team's a little bit less scary, but he's still got Lando I, so that's, you know, always a massive threat no matter what. And then we got a couple of divisional games. Geo drafted like a lot of highly defensive stuff, but he actually like has, I think, the fewest amount of combined resistances of the whole league, which is, I feel like, is very curious. So I'm curious how much of that bulk is actually going to be, you know, very good, and how much of it is like deceptively. Is that deceptively good, or I guess it's deceptively bad? I don't know. But you know, I'm curious how that's going to go out. You know, part of it seemed like bulk for the sake of bulk, but you know, at the same time, you guys know I love bulk, so it could very well be. I don't know. It was definitely a fan favorite draft. It's chock loaded with legendaries, I can tell you that. Which, by the way, note about our team that we do not have any legendaries, nor any Pokemon that originated in Gen 5, and I believe we are the only GBA team that can say that. So, there you go. Truly, we are a champion of the 4th gen people, lovers who love breeding their Pokemon legitimately, because that's what we're going to be doing all season. As you guys may or may not know, we do not Pokesav or Pokegen or PK Hex or Inject. None of that stuff that the kids do nowadays. No, we do it old school. And in fact, I'm probably going to be breeding half these guys on on Heart Gold Soul Silver more often than not. So, but anyway, that aside, week 3 we have BattlerX, which is horrifying because that guy drafted Sawsbuck. And if someone drafts Sawsbuck, then you know that, you know, they're just pretty much above everyone else. And I think it's going to be, we're probably going to get steamrolled in week 3. The good thing is that the Sawsbucks don't have a head smasher, so we might have a chance, but we'll have to see. Week 4, looking forward to that one, because the last time we played Miguel was week 10 of season 4, which was pretty much the Cooper decides to troll Mogwai battle. And we actually got darn close. If I had, like, wanted to make that push, like, I feel like, and several people have told me, that I probably could have actually won that game. But if I had wanted to win the game, I also probably wouldn't have actually brought swagger. So, you know, it was sort of a big factor in as well. But I'm looking forward to, you know, having an actual real game with the real Muriel, to use a terrible, inaccurate pun. Then week 5, we finish out our first conference slate against Tup. So Tup grabbed Hippo, which someone was going to grab Hippo in all honesty, but he did it to, I believe he franchised Excadrill and then was able to pick up Hippo, so that, you know, created a better Sand team than what he had last year. He had Excadrill paired with Mega T-Tar, who only gets 5 turns out of the Sand. He can't use the Smooth Rock. So, thankfully we have stuff like Prankster Sableye to sort of, you know, maybe curtail Excadrill from going ham, but I don't know, we'll see what we can do about that. And then we got to play the NCO back-to-back, Tup, and then on into Fizz. And Fizz has the water hydrant dude, Volcanion, that fellow. And we don't have a water absorber or anyone to block Hydro Scald, so that's going to be potentially horrifying. And I don't know, maybe for that week we'll try doing a free agency pickup. I mean, Quagsire is available, and I heard that thing apparently is OU now, and it's like tier 4 or tier 5. So, whatever. Smogon, you're silly. And then week 7, we play the D-League Season 1 champion, which is Sam, and he has Mew for a mascot pick, and that's one of the mascot picks that's most likely to work out. The only one that's more likely to work out, I'd say, would be Sawsbuck, because BattlerX. But Mew's definitely up there as well. I never know how to prep for Mew, and yeah, so we'll just have to see how that comes to it in week 7. I'm very looking forward to week 8 and getting to play Tom again. I think I'm 1-2, but the differential is either, like, I don't know, it's within 1 from 0, I'm pretty sure, because of the much storied 6-0 Aggron sweep. It wasn't technically a sweep, but Aggron was present and it was a 6-0. in week 3 of season 3, I believe is when it was, Aggron came down from the mountains and began his legend in the GBA, and it is a story that is, you know, fondly recalled in Utah Jasmine lore. And this is, you know, either he'll get a chance of redemption, or we'll get a chance to make his hopes and dreams come crashing down, as by the end of week 8 the playoff picture will, you know, start to be coming into focus, and then in week 9 we'll proceed to get our hopes and dreams shattered by BattleRX, so that'll be great. Week 10 we have our last new opponent that we'll be playing, which is one of the newcomers, Chimpact, and he ended up getting a rain team in sort of like a backdoor way. He franchised Torn T, and then like we ended up moving Politoad down to tier 2, and then at which point I was like, alright, we need to move like every Swift Swimmer like up a tier to compensate, and we moved, I think we moved Kingdra, who we got up. I think we moved Kingdra up, but we didn't move everyone up, so yeah, so he's got a pretty decent rain team going on. It's not quite to the degree of Kote, but with tier restrictions, and now it's never going to be as good as the Maple Leafeon's premier rain team was. He also has Blastoise, which he grabbed in the second round for a rain dish guy, for that, whatever that's relevant. Which, fun fact, is not the highest Blastoise has ever been drafted in the GBA. That goes to round 1 in season 3 when Joe picked it up. So yeah, that was something. But hopefully we got some stuff we can do against some rain guys, and there's some other threats on there as well. And then weeks 11 and 12, we already mentioned Geo and Tup. Lots of bulk and lots of sand plus other stuff. Mega Pidgeot is probably going to confuse all of our crap with Hurricane, and that's going to be horrifying. But Mega Pidgeot doesn't get Focus Blast, so that means Aggron, you know, is probably... if Aggron gets confused, he's probably just going to go into like a Berserker mode and just start to like proceed to like one-shot everything with... What's a move we can Head Smash? I don't know. Because he already one-shots pretty much everything with Head Smash. But the things that he can't one-shot with Head Smash already, he'll one-shot if he goes into Berserker mode. So he's like AV Unit 1, kind of in that regard. He'll just like get confused, swallow an S2 engine, and proceed to just dominate everything. So that's what I'm predicting is going to happen in week 8. And yeah, as you can see, we're in the Johto Silver division. You can see from the numbers what the divisions of all the opponents are there. The coaches we are not playing, we play everyone in the Johto conference. Gold and Silver, we played the Silver twice, of course. The coaches we are not playing from Red, we have Super Blah, our good buddy. We have that guy who won Season 6, A-Drive, and the other new guy, Envy, who has a lot of gimmicks, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to go on with that team. That's going to be a fun one to watch, if nothing else. And then also from the Blue Division, which in my opinion is the toughest division. You already see Tom there. On top of that, we've got John, George, and Gubbs, and that just sounds horrifying. Outside, you know, at least excluding myself, I think John probably has the roster I have in highest regard, at least on paper, but we'll see how it goes in practice, which is what actually matters. So, yeah, that's our 12 games this season, and hopefully we'll be able to actually make the playoffs this season. I think our career record is like 1 game over 500 actually, and but our differential is like plus 12, so I don't know, I just think that's kind of funny. Partly because we've had, what, 3 6-0s in the career? Yeah, that sounds right. So, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Yeah, look forward to week 1 going up on Sundays. Remember, do not subscribe to Cooper's channel. If you already clicked the subscribe button, please click the unsubscribe button, because that is not how we operate here. These are the rules of Cooper that you're just gonna have to learn. Just, you know, hopefully check in, hopefully every Sunday. Also, as a tack on, this season of the Utah Jasmine will be brought to you by your friendly neighborhood Walmart, because much like Superblock, Cooper doesn't have the interwebs freely usable at his residence. We are going to be making do with phone hotspot stuff going on, which is pretty reliable. It is 4G, it just has a data limit, so I don't want to be uploading stuff from there. But thankfully our friendly local neighborhood Walmart
has free Wi-Fi that we can just bring little tablets and stuff to and hook up and upload, and that's how I've been uploading most of my videos for the last month or two. So we will end up uploading all of our GBA stuff at Walmart. And I believe also some things for those of you who stuck around this long, which conveniently I think we kept this under an hour, so that's good. We were debating whether or not we wanted to have, those of you who watched me in the past know that we traditionally have like about a 45-minute video where about the first 5 to 10 to 15 minutes sometimes I blabber on about the matchup and do some like team preview and stuff like that and describe what I brought. Some people do a team builder on Saturday, so I was considering maybe to just like, I'll still probably record it in one go, but then just like cut the video in a third, no, it's not even a third, it's like maybe a fourth, and just upload that part and public it on Saturday if you guys wanted that, or if you just wanted the all-in-one go on Sunday, that would be fine as well. I think the old way, not putting up anything on Saturday, was slightly ahead in the straw polls last time I checked, but you know, if you want to leave a strongly worded comment supporting one or the other, that would be great as well. Other than that, we might have some like fun straw polls in the description, so check those out and vote accordingly. I'll probably also put them on Twitter, so you can access them in whichever way you like. And yeah, that's gonna be it. So running the team one more time to close off. We got Sableye, Greninja, Clefable, Mega Gallade, Staraptor, Gliscor, Empoleon, Magnezone, Claydol, the Boss God, and Weezing, rounding up the team. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, and see you guys next Sunday for our first game back in a while against Lars. Later days.